Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I think we'll get started. Everyone seems to be coming in slowly. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us today. You've tuned in to listen to the latest updates with smart technology, and it's Wednesday the 29th of July. So my name is Kendall Havenstein, and I'm the Marketing and Operations Manager for Smart Technologies Australia and New Zealand, and I'm going to be today's co-host, supporting the presenter in the background. So I'm going to go through some quick housekeeping items, and then I'm going to hand it over to today's presenter. So first things first, to navigate your control panel. So you can ask questions by typing it into the question box, or you can raise your hand to come off mute. There's two ways. We will have a short question and answer segment at the end of the webinar. So if you do have questions that kind of pop up in your mind throughout, still feel free to type them in. I might be able to answer them straight away, or I may save them up to the end of the webinar. If it's obviously a technical issue or an urgent issue, I'll do my best to help you straight away. But if your question doesn't get answered, it's most likely because I'm going to save it up to the end, or I know that the presenter may already cover your question in their presentation. So you can earn a certificate of attendance for this webinar. You just log into training.smarttech.com, navigate to this webinar, which it usually is up and running on the website by the following Wednesday. And you just scroll to, so navigate to the title of this webinar, then scroll to the end, and then you just click on the Mark Complete button that pops up. And as long as you're signed into your Smart Tech account, an automatic PDF will download with your name on it. If you're not logged into your Smart Tech account, it's okay. It'll just take you through the processes to log in, and then it will generate the PDF. So as of this term, for New South Wales educators, you can now earn Nessa accreditation 1 hour for this webinar. So that is super exciting, and we're super excited to announce that this term. So for live participants, there will be a survey. If you do want to claim Nessa hours for this webinar, there will be a survey that will pop up automatically at the end of this webinar. So please hang around if you want to claim Nessa hours, and it's just a short survey that you fill out. You just need your, one thing you do need is your Nessa accreditation number, and you need to fill out your name and your email. And then there's 6 short questions to answer after that. So if there's any issues, you can email us, and I will put my email in the chat. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce today's presenter. So today we have the lovely Molly Turner. Molly has 15 years in education across both the primary and the secondary sectors of school, and she is fluent in French and English, and she is also a SMART certified educator. And if you would like to connect up with Molly, her contact details are just below her profile photo there. You've got her email, mollyturner@smarttech.com, and also her Instagram handle at mollysmartau, which is updated regularly with loads of relevant content. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Molly. Thanks, Molly.
Thanks so much, Kendall. Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks so much for taking the time to join us this afternoon. It is super exciting that it is our first cab off the rank for our Nessa accredited. So for those New South Wales teachers, I know how precious that is to you, and we're really proud of that accreditation for our proficient teachers to be able to gain their Nessa accredited hours for the time that they're giving us in the afternoons for our webinar. So thanks so much, and make sure that you do fill out that survey that will pop up at the end for you. So look, what we'll do today is we're going to go through a lot of the new updates from SMART. So look, I am a teacher. I've been a teacher for 15 years. I am currently working at SMART as an education consultant, and I support a lot of sort of schools and teachers in their SMART journey. It's been, particularly a privilege of ours recently to be able to support our teachers during sort of COVID, and ensuring that their programs and their teaching and learning is sort of kicking along with the help of our technology. So I'm going to show you a couple of things today. Kenny, I'm just seeing the view from the webinar presentation, and I'm not sure with everyone else. I don't know if you need to share your screen at the moment. Maybe just click that back. So it's just the webcam. We just like get, yeah, that, I reckon that would be a better view for everyone, just so you can really hone in and be able to sort of see what we've got here. Cool. So I am on the beautiful new 6000S series board, but I'm not here to plug our hardware or anything like that. But I just want to show you some of the great updates that we have that have come and that are coming in the next few days. So it was a bit of, unfortunate timing where the new update for the new IQ. So for you guys, if you have your smart board, and we've got our, what we call our Android that's sort of attached to the back there, we have this great IQ kind of system happening that allows us to do some really fun stuff before even plugging a device in and using the software. So I'll go through those updates with you now. And the first one I'll just tap into is just got to do with our whiteboarding. So for those of you that like you've probably come across this, if your boards are on a network, they're getting the over-the-air updates, okay? So you probably would have seen this maybe a couple of months now. For those of you that don't have this, it is a really nice reminder to perhaps have a gentle conversation with your IT to say that your board's in need of an update, because there's some really cool new features in the whiteboard already available for you. So as you can see, we've got these great, we do have these great templates, that so graphic organizers, so our brainstorming ones, our plus, our minus, our interesting, perhaps charts that we can do with our students that we're often doing, because we know the merit obviously of those thinking routines and being able to organize content really nicely, have students obviously coming up and writing their ideas on the board and being able to capture all of that content and all of the learning. So we're looking into, you know, visible learning and having that really quite clear. Obviously, as well as a teacher, it's really nice to have those sorts of templates, because you're able to as well, perhaps when we're asking our students to do a bit of a brainstorm or a mind map, we could be modelling what it is in terms of the overarching sort of bigger ideas and the questions to do, perhaps if you're doing a literary review or anything like that. And then we would be able to model it up for the students and have that content sort of there for them to demonstrate what we mean by a mind map, or what we mean when we're sort of using these different kinds of graphic organisers here. Obviously, the, you know, much loved Venn diagram, it's always sort of make an appearance in charts and things like that. So by all means, have an explore. You probably have already if you have found them. If you don't, your board will need an update, okay? So there's a couple of ways of doing that. If you're probably writing furiously now to Katie saying, how do I update my board? We can send you out some information, okay? So obviously, you know, your IT is your best port of call. If you are the IT and you still don't know how to update your board, then we'll get you that information. The most fun ones here, and if we have any primary teachers on the line, you would go mad about these amazing templates. So this is super fun, and I mean, even in high school, I'm using it in my high school French classes as well. But we have things like we can do our timetable. I just showed this to a childcare centre, early learning centre yesterday as well, and they could see a lot in there. So these are all these images here are set to an infinite clone. So we might have our, perhaps our Monday or our period 1 or anything like that, and we could be asking the students, you know, who's on, or maybe who's on the bus today, and we could pop our students' names in there for the bus. And we've got birthdays as well coming up, so we've got a couple of birthdays peppered throughout the week. Obviously there's our numbers if we wanted to make it like a date range, and really nice. Obviously this is what I thought was quite cute, is to pop in the weather there as well. So I'm sure you'll find some really great uses for these sorts of templates. I'll show you a couple of more that I know that teachers have been excited about. Obviously we've got our equivalent fractions, so we can have a look at that and be able to demonstrate what it looks like for criminal fractions, or if we're just even teaching fractions for that first time, it's a really great way sort of conceptually for the students to see it, to play with it, for them to make mistakes and to understand how it all works. So they're great. And of course, the beloved, and I did say the best till last, there's the Maestro for obviously the music teachers, but we do have our beloved hundreds chart, which I know a lot of teachers were a little bit sort of sad to learn that since the advent of Smart Learning Suite, we no longer are supporting Adobe Flash or Flash, that our hundreds chart disappeared. But now we've got a cool one here that we built into the whiteboarding space where we're able to perhaps ask our students to come up and do, and maybe even have the students themselves to sort of put up not a formula, what's the word I'm looking for, arithmetic, it's just going to escape me now anyway. And then the kids are coming up and they're using the little tiles to jump 4 and then to jump 5 and to get their answer. So again, it's just a really sort of great way to increase that interactivity from the students and for them to really be engaging with the content rather than perhaps just themselves at a worksheet or anything like that. So that's a really sort of fun one. There's also a number line there with some cool little card that we can, make go up the line. Unfortunately, we can't. Someone asked me the other day, can we increase that number line? No, but you can pop in your own numbers, or you can, of course, make one in your software. So that's all the new sort of features of the whiteboard that I did just want to sort of cover really quickly. Now, the major update, and it is happening. It's getting pushed out on July 30, so we missed it by about 24 hours. But that's for our MXV2 series and also our 6000 series, and then the other boards will be coming sort of in August. So let's say by mid to end of August, you'll all have these features available to you, okay? So I've got it in the beta version now, and I'll just show you a couple of really cool things. One of them being in the app section down here, we now have our widgets. So our interactive dice, if I just touch on that there, pops up. Our spinners, where's my spinner gone? There's my spinner. And my timer. So you would have the calculator already in there. And I now also have my timer. So there are 3 most popular widgets that are in our software that they haven't been, again, they're not sort of working in Smart Learning Suite Online. They work in the software perfectly, which is great. But we also sort of then wanted to ensure that these really cool widgets were available in our in anything, on the board itself, on a browser, in Smart Learning Suite Online, sort of everywhere. So again, if you wanted to, you do have the settings cog there. So if you wanted to pop in your student names, for example, I can pop Molly in. I didn't do a capital. That's the English teacher in me. I have to do that. You can pop the names in. With the segments, you can go up to 12, I believe. So for per class, I think these days would be up to maybe 3 spinners, but we can then have all of our students on a widget, which we can always just have by the side. So if, kids, we want to do anything randomly or make sure the kids are having a go and answering a question, even the kids come up and use the spinner is obviously a really cool tool. And it's the same with the dice here. So the dice, I do have a settings cog on the dice as well. Once it stops spinning, I can show you, unfortunately at this stage with this particular widget in the IQ, I can't put a picture in, but I can put text. Okay, so we could perhaps roll up, or I could type it in if I wanted to, or we could perhaps do letters, and we're doing all words starting with and we could get the kids to do that. So again, a really sort of fun and interactive tool that we know that our teachers and students love heaps. So that's available now as well with the latest, or in a minute, with the latest IQ, and of course our timer. It's really nice to have that. And it obviously sort of, again, like I said, if I go back to my home screen, what you can see is it stays there. So if I go to a browser, they stay there, okay? So I can always have that, even if and I'll leave them there just for demonstration, but when I go into my computer, they'll also be there then. So they're just floating widgets. So until I close it, and the way that I close it is I can select here, I'll close this one for you, and that little cross box comes up or circle, and I just drop it in there, much like when you're removing apps from your phone. Pick it up and drop it in. So I'll leave those two there because they're fun. Great, so that's obviously another really exciting new update for the IQ that will be coming for everybody by the end of August. Cool. So the other thing I did want to show you as well, this is major, particularly if you're a high school teacher, and I think I remember showing this perhaps at the beginning of the year because we knew it was on the roadmap and it was so exciting, and it's finally arrived. And that's our sign-in capabilities. And you probably think, well, I've been able to sign in for ages, and you're absolutely right. You can definitely sign in and you can customize your dashboard. But what's really cool now is that it is reading what I call a smart account, okay? So hopefully you all know what your smart account is. You set one up. If you haven't, let Kenny know in the chat and we can send you a little video about setting up a smart account and why you'd want one. And we're really looking at it nowadays as our passport, and it's our passport into all these great features like being able to read my cloud account just from the board, so I don't have to bring my computer with me. And that's great, obviously. I mean, look, it's great across the board, but very powerful for both our specialist teachers, our relief teachers, and of course our high school teachers that are very transient. So they're, often sort of in different rooms, and perhaps they don't want to lug their computer around, or they want to just be able to sign in. They haven't been given a login for those relief teachers for the school, but they want to access their resources because they've got some great stuff in Smart Learning Suite Online. If you're also accessing, if you're using your Google Drive, your G Drive account, and you've linked that with your Smart Learning Suite account, it's the same thing. It'll read it, okay? So again, that's really cool. So I'm just going to sign in with Google. You sign in with Google, you sign in with Microsoft, just like you would with any other sign in via SLSO or anything like that. You use your smart accounts. I'm sorry, I'm just going to turn my back on you so you don't see my credentials, and you can see obviously that I have to do that. If you're very weary of your students, I would suggest that you'd be doing this before they enter the classroom because it is your credentials, okay? All right, so Molly Turner. Cool. This is where I have to hide it from you. All right, good. So not too bad. I'm sure I blocked that really nicely. You usually have some very cluey little kids, I'm sure, in your classroom. And now it's signing in. And it's signing in, and it's going to be my personalised dashboard that I have. So I've got my wallpaper that I've used here. Any recents that I went to that day. So I might have been in another classroom and I went to a website that I want, I haven't cleared it up. It's going to be there. It's reading whatever sort of activity I've done that day, and any activity that I've saved in my favorites, for example. So I could go to my apps, and when I've gone to my apps, I might be a heavy Teams user, and so I might start Teams. I might also want a calculator for the math teachers just at the ready, so I might start that as well. So you see that the widgets have dropped off because the widgets are on the other board, right? So if I wanted what do we have before? The timer. If I wanted my timer, I'll just go to the spinner because it's right there. I could pop that up and that be available to me. Oh, I've done it twice. Cool. So you can see there that now I've got some favourites populating, and that means that any time that I go into a room, doesn't matter where I am, and I sign into a smartboard, I'm going to get the stuff that I know and that I have made for me. But most importantly, I'm going to get my cloud files, which is really great. I'll just get a second for that to see. I've got Molly's file here. We can go in and have a look at Molly's files. And look, the first time you do it on a board, and I haven't done it on this board yet because I had to change it to the beta version, it takes a little bit of time to load, and I've got hundreds of files in there, so I probably should have done this beforehand, but we will give it a second and they will all load up for me really nicely. And then anytime I come into this room and I tap on this board, then it's just an automatic thing. So it does sort of take a while to read that account first, and then once that's sort of happened, all of my files will pop up. And you can see as well, which is great, that I've got some, I've got my little cloud account sort of filing here. So it's recognised that that's my account, and that all of my folders are sort of in there, okay? And you can see that they're all notebook files. Now they say notebook files, but some of these are even PowerPoint presentations that I've uploaded to Smart Learning Suite Online. So it doesn't have to be a notebook, and you're probably aware already of those features in Smart Learning Suite Online. And if you're not, just stay tuned because we explore that in the coming weeks. Okay, so then if I tap on one of my files, you can see there that this is my great lesson on 2D shapes. So this is available to me. I can get my students to come and join. So why don't you come and join, and you can have a look at my lesson. So for you to join, for my students to join, I would go to hellosmart.com, and I'd pop that in the web address rather than a Google search, just because it's just the way that it finds it easier, hellosmart.com. And so once you've sort of logged into, you'll get pushed to a page and be asked to sign in as a guest or sign in as with an account. You can just sign in as a guest. That's totally fine. Join as a guest. So my number is 3070. And I'm entering here as a student. Oh, I've got two, Courtney, g'day, and Karen, hello, Molly, I'm there, which is fantastic. And what I can do, see my little widgets are here. So I could have those in on my resource and there for me. So I can start sharing. I've got a few people in there now, and I can start sharing that resource with you. And I'm just going to change it to student pace, so you have a little bit of a play in that particular lesson. I haven't changed any of those pages at the moment to activity pages, but I could do that on the fly if I wanted to. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to actually go to, and so this is really cool for teachers. I like to move around the classroom. I don't like to be up at the board. So what I would do here is I can, as a teacher, sign into this account, sweet.smarttech.com. And what I can actually do is I can control the lesson from my phone or my tablet or my laptop at the back of the room, yeah? So it's pretty amazing. It's sort of what we like to call untethered from the board, and I see myself very much as like that facilitator. So I like to kind of have this, my board space, and this as a device for my students. So they're up at the board and they're perhaps you know, inking on things, and they could be looking and asking questions and whatnot. And what I can be doing too is I can just be, let me just get to the, here it is, the 2D shapes. And I could be back in the classroom, and I could be with the kids, and I could be sort of doing whatever I need to be doing with them. So I can see, there we go. this set of stuff I've done previously. And now if I do over here, I can set to student pace, no, to teacher pace. And I set it to student pace for you guys. There you go. And I then have control. So sorry, I've totally walked out of the shot. I can then just be able to go through and go on this if I want to, like that, okay? If I wanted to change one of the pages, and this is obviously, we've been in this document before and I've inked all through it, but if I wanted to as well, I could perhaps, let me just get to a page here, or maybe I even want to do, say, a blank page, and in that blank page, I want to make it an individual handout activity. So what I'm essentially doing there is I'm asking you guys, that's your blank page now, I want you to perhaps give me examples of 2D shapes. So if I give that to you and I can start the activity, start the activity, we can get you, great, Daniel's already started there to start the handout activity. And I'm getting that captured on my device here because I don't necessarily want to share the student work on the board. That can be, you know, it's up to you, that can be quite private. So I could actually come in here and look at Karen there and give her some feedback. I can pop a little tick in there. I can put a text box in there asking if she has any questions. So it's pretty amazing, and I can do that with all my students. So obviously I can sort of change pages here as well. So, I mean, yeah, revolutionize. It's pretty amazing. I hope that you're sort of seeing that power of it now, but especially the dual sign-in. So what we can do as well, I know that there are a lot of learning spaces now that might have one board, two boards in like a shared teaching space, and we might be presenting to two different sort of cohorts, and we could actually have just the one teacher sort of, we could sign into both the boards, and then we could sign into a third device, and then we can sort of run the lessons that way in terms of that presentation mode. So look, super exciting stuff. You can kind of see as well, obviously everything that's being captured here, it's actually feeding back into my cloud account. So if I've got you guys working on like a collaborative task, let me just set another page and I'll make it, oh no, I can only do a shout out activity on the fly. So one of the other pages that I might want to turn into, say, a workspace activity where I have everybody collaborating on this one, and I just pop it back to teacher pace, so you've got it. And I put you all into everyone in one class. Obviously not a great page as an example, but you sort of get the gist that what I would be doing is I would be, oh, of course my phone's ringing, I would be able to see in that original resource in my cloud account who has contributed what to the page, okay? So if there's any kids in there and they're popping in any pictures, I can as well see which student has done what, and we're able to, with that attribution, I'm going to show you that in a minute, okay? Cool. Great. All right, guys. So hopefully you can kind of see everything. Yeah, the power of it there. Sorry, I've just had another phone call come through, of course, while I'm presenting. But that to me is probably the biggest and best and most amazing update that we have. And so like I said, by the end of August, we're kind of rolling it out by appliance. So that would be, you know, the MXV2s and the 6000 S series first, and then the AM40s and 50s early August, and then the 7000 Rs by mid-August. So yeah, that's all happening, and so very exciting. If you want more information or even a little, I'm sure we've got YouTube clips out there to sort of walk you through it again. We can send that to you if you like. So look, that was the sort of major updates in terms of the appliance itself, so the whiteboarding, the widgets and the IQ. And now I'm going to go into my, my computer, my screen here, and we're going to have a quick look at some of the updates within the software, okay? So there have been some updates in the software. Oh, that's that crazy view, which I will just turn my camera off. See my little widget follows? I'm on my device now, and my widget is following. So it doesn't matter. So now I can have it in my SLSO account. So whilst we're here, I may as well just show you. Oh, actually, we'll come back. Sorry. Okay, cool. So I'm all plugged in now. I'm just going to turn my camera off. You guys don't need to see me now. But hopefully you can see my screen well. I think that's working nicely. That's fine.
Yep,
cool.
All good.
Okay. So I'll just lock that in place because it should have been locked to begin with. So I'm in my notebook software now, and you may have seen already, or you might not have, but we have made it to Notebook 20. Probably the best thing to come out of 2020 at the moment is our Notebook 20. So look, it's pretty fun, exciting for those of you where it might not have happened automatically. You might be in a department school. Don't worry, it'll happen for you really soon. We're just working out some sort of that networking pathway with the department. But in any case, we are up to Notebook 20, and there's just a couple of cool call-outs that I'll show you, okay? So when you open it for the first time, then one of them, it'll come up with a little pop-up asking if you'd like to present in 4K. So that's pretty fancy. So you can select to present in 4K if you like. But the major one for me, and this is really tying back into that idea of the smart account, okay? So the smart account is very much, like I said, that passport, okay? So for those of you, let's take it a step back. If you've never created a smart account before, it's really essential that you do that. So for those of you that have access to our Smart Learning Suite, you'll be able to set up a smart account and use our software to the full of its capabilities, including our Smart Learning Suite Online. So in order to do that, if you're brand new to Smart and you've just got the notebook software pushed out to your computer and you have no idea, no one's told you to set up a Smart account, open up your notebook. Yep, so that's your, oops, that's this little icon on the front here, the desktop. And if you open up that little icon there, what you'll be able to do is you find account up in the top toolbar, or the top menu bar, I should say. It's not a toolbar, it's a menu bar. So file, edit, view, insert, format. You guys won't have math, tools, add-on, account. I'll sign out for all intents and purposes, and I will show you that you just sign in. And you sign in using a Google or Microsoft account, okay? So this is, for those of you that are at a New South Wales Department of Education school, you'll need to use your Google account. So that's at your education.nsw.gov.au account, okay? That is a must. So you sign in with Google, and again, oh look, there's my little spinner. How fun is that? Oh, you're not seeing it. Oh, it's on the board. I just looked at my screen, the spinner's not there. It's on my board though. Anyway, that's fun. Okay, so I go to my, look, you're seeing all of my ones here. I turn it to my SLS and it signs me in because I've already signed in before. You'll sign in, pop your email address and your password in, and you hit OK, and then you're good to go. There's another little pop-up box as well with the OK. Let me just put. So once I'm in and I know I've got my account, I've set myself up a Smart account, and I can test that out by looking at my profile, okay? So my profile is going to give me that unique teacher number that you all just joined my class with. So that was my 3070. So that's all I can see. I can change my name if I'm at a school where maybe they don't call me by my first name, they call me by my last name. I can change my name there. You could reset your class ID, but I don't suggest that you do that if you've already given students your ID there, okay? So look, the biggest, I suppose it's an improvement, the biggest update from Notebook is the fact that we can now save our Notebook files into that Smart account. Okay, so even if you've never set up a Smart Learning Suite Online account before, it's going to automatically feed it into that cloud account, and then you can start accessing it from signing into the board, or you can access it from a cloud account. It's actually really handy. So there's obviously a lot more sort of capabilities in the software. So with the software, I can do maybe add a few more things than I could do in Smart Learning Suite Online. So I might want to create in my notebook, but then I save it. But when I present to my students, I might present through Smart Learning Suite Online. So I've created my amazing, this is my, and I can't take credit for this at all, but it is a really awesome resource on 2D shapes. It's available for you for free on Smart Exchange if you want it. Maybe Ken, you can put the link to Smart Exchange in the chat. But once I'm happy with it and I've made it and it's really fantastic, I go to, first of all, I want to do a file and just hit Save As, just to be safe. It does save it for you, but just so you know where it's going, maybe I want to pop it on my desktop, and I have selected that and I've saved it. So once I've saved it, what I can do is I can share it, okay? So we used to be able to share files to the board, but what we're doing now is we're sharing our files, and you'll get, it saves it. It shares to my Smart account, okay? And it means that I can deliver that from Smart Learning Suite Online. So I just hit upload to SLSO, which is great. And I could get, that's already a copy of that's been uploaded to my Smart account. And I could also share a link as well out with my team teachers if I wanted to, okay? So if I go back then to my week.smarttech.com, so if you've never signed into, if you've gone through Notebook and you've just done that and you've shared it to your Smart account, you're like, where did it go? You can go to, I'll type it in for you, so suite.smarttech.com, okay? And that'll take you to your sign-in page, and you use your Smart account credentials to sign in, okay? I might be confusing my computer, but yeah. And you come to your dashboard, all right? So then you come to your dashboard, and I had already, I'll just sort of refresh this, but I had sort of saved this one in here previously. So it uploads it and it shares it to your Smart Learning Suite Online account, which is, yeah, really, really handy. So the other thing I'll show you, see, it's the first one that's come in today. So there it is. It's on my, it's in my dashboard now, and I might have gone, oh, damn, I've totally forgotten to add a YouTube clip in there. But that's okay, I can go to edit. I can still edit. Remember, you can, for those of you that don't know, you can edit in Smart Learning Suite Online. So you would just hit edit, and by all means, go and have an explore. I'm not really going to go and show you a lot of this today because it's not brand new, and our focus today is on what's new. But for you guys, it's a very easy to navigate platform where I would hit the plus button down the bottom, and there are the things that I could add to my pre-existing resource. So I could pop in a YouTube clip there, maybe of 2D shapes. And remember, all of our YouTube clips, that looks like fun. I could view it if I wanted to. All of our YouTube clips won't play the ad. Maybe I want that first as my hook. It won't play the ad, and it won't play the next YouTube clip in line, which is really, really beneficial for teachers, but particularly being quite useful during the time of remote learning, where teachers have been really quite hesitant to send out YouTube links because they have no control of it. They don't really know what the student's getting. So this way, it's really nice that we could house it all in that one resource that we're sharing with our students, okay? So I've popped my little YouTube clip in there, and obviously on that plus button, you can see there's so much more fun stuff. This has been around for quite a while now, maybe the last 6 months. But if you haven't seen it, by all means, check it out. We've got some, templates in there for you to use. We can use our Smart Lab and our formative assessment tool. So guys, if you haven't been in this space before, that little grey button where it says training gives you a really good overview, and it's really easy to digest, and it starts from like uploading an existing resource through to maybe you want to just start with a video and go from there, or a new page. So it really steps you through using Smart Learning Suite Online. So there'll be that really nice sort of consistent experience and flow with all of your resources, because littered throughout them will be some really cool fun stuff like the games and the formative assessment tools. So by all means, check out that training. So the other things as well, I'll just show you that, and you may have noticed this, particularly if you've been using your Smart Learning Suite Online account through your remote learning, what you would have seen pop up is that we now have something called Attribution, okay? So beforehand, and look, I'll get you guys to come back into this if you want. So I've still got Junko in there, which is great. If you wanted to come back either to that web browser that you had Hello Smart open, or maybe even on your phone, you could pop back in here into my class. But what I will sort of show you, obviously, from here is that we are able to now keep track of when we're doing a collaborative activity. So that's when one of our pages, I'm sorry if I lose you here because you don't know much about Smart Learning Online, but if one of our pages we've turned to a collaborative activity, and then here's a page here, that's the symbol for it. What was happening was we weren't really able to track who out of the group did what contribution did they make to that particular page. So this one here, I've just done this with teachers the other day, but what I'm able to do is tap on the text that has been added, and there's a little drop down menu there that will tell me who that is, okay? So we can see that through this one here, I can track how much input that they made on this particular collaborative task, which has been a really fantastic addition to the collaborative workspaces. Obviously, as teachers, we really need to be able to sort of track that and to know the student work. Great. Look, I'll pop it to Student Place if you want to just have a quick glide through that resource. It's a PowerPoint presentation that we actually borrowed from the department and did a great remote learning webinar on it, if anyone was interested in looking at how we transported this this PowerPoint I beg your pardon into Smart Learning Suite Online to push out to students. Okay, so let me just check time. Obviously, with the advent of the Nessa accreditation, we have now pushed our webinars out to an hour. So I'll just take a bit of a breath. We've got 15 minutes to go. There's two more things that I'd like to show you, okay? And one of them is if you're a Microsoft house, so if your school is a Microsoft school and you guys have been using Teams heavily, or you do use Teams heavily. So I know we've got a lot of schools. I was chatting to schools up in Central Australia that have a lot of their classes are remote because of geography, and they're often using Teams. Well, now we have the ability to access our Smart Learning Suite Online through Teams. So we've always been able to do that through, well, not always, but we have been able to do that for a while now with our Google Drive. And now we've got it in Teams, okay? So I'm in Teams now. And as you can see, it's different. This dashboard is actually my Microsoft account. I normally run off Google, but I've created a Microsoft account to demonstrate to you. So if you are a Google school that uses Teams, you would just be using your Smart Learning Suite through Google, okay? But for those that are on Microsoft House, basically what you do here is I've already added it to my account. So you can see down the left-hand side of my screen, you can see I've got my little Smart Learning Suite app that's been added there. So for those of you that don't have that already, there's two ways to go about that. So if you want to add the app, and it's completely free, you could go to the three dots down on that left-hand side of your Teams screen, go to the three dots and pop in Find an App, or you can go to right down the bottom of that left-hand strip is a little icon that says Apps, and it takes you to Apps. So we can search in here, Smart Learning Suite, and it'll come up for you there, and you just add the Smart Learning Suite. So if you're trying to do that and for some reason it hasn't popped up for you, don't worry. It'll just be that you'll just need to contact your IT administrator because they'll be the ones that might need to add it to your team's offerings. So I just open that, and it would say install rather than open, and I would just hit install, and then it just populates into here. So what's really cool is that when I go to my Smart Learning Suite, I can just be, you know, we've got schools at the moment, particularly in Victoria, that are using Teams heavily, and they are using Smart Learning Suite with their remote classes. So they're in their Teams call. Obviously, you know, you don't have to be in Teams to run SLSO, but it's just a really nice integration where the teacher doesn't need to go in and out of places, that they'll find everything that they need at their fingertips. So once it kind of opens up, it finds you'll be asked to sign in. Can you sign in with your Microsoft account? And then it'll read your Microsoft dashboard, okay? So this is for Microsoft users and those that have used Microsoft to set up their smart account, okay? But once that happens, what I could do is I can click into my my Smart Learning Suite resource here. This is a cool little one on fractions, and it basically just opens that up in the window that I've got there, and be able to then just navigate and just stay within Teams. So again, I'm within Teams, so I've still got all the Teams, you know, tools and everything if I need to sort of put people in breakout groups or anything like that, but you wouldn't really need to do that if they're connected to Smart Learning Suite online. But you can see here as well that if I come in and I use my pen features, that I can just be able to ink into that document, and that you're seeing all that inking happening, okay? And there's shouted out, and it's just my resource, okay? So that's pretty fun. So obviously it's been great for those blended learning classes where I'm running my teams for my remote kids, but they're having the exact same experience as the kids are in the classroom. So I'm at the board now, and just like my kids would come up and they would have a go, and oh, I got it wrong. You know, everyone that's on that Teams call is seeing exactly the same thing that's happening with the students in the classroom as well. So it's a really consistent approach, and it's really obviously great when, you know, you've got some kids coming in. When we had that standard approach, we had some kids coming in certain days of the week. What we're finding through this is their experience in the classroom is exactly the same as the experience that they're going to get at home. So that's really important, you know, to us. And we know as teachers is to have that consistency and to have that connection, if you like, between what's happening in the classroom setting and what's happening remotely as well. Okay, so I think we've still got about 10 minutes to go, so hopefully you can kind of see anything there. Before I just step into something that's It's back actually on the panel. It's specifically to do with our new 6000S series, but it's a really exciting new, I want to give you a sneak peek of something called ToolSense. That if you might be in a position where you're looking at upgrading boards, and if you're particularly in the early years education, then you definitely want to sort of check it out. But before I do that, Kenny, I might just throw it over to you to do any questions while I'm, in Teams or on SLSO or in Notebook. Are there any questions specific to those programs before I move back to the IQ?
No, there's actually been no questions yet come through today.
Oh, okay. I must be really
thorough.
Really thorough. Yeah, that's my good teaching, definitely. Okay, guys. Well, I'll switch back now. So what I'll do is I'll just share again my camera with you. Hopefully that's coming on now. And did that come up? Kenny, can you see me?
Yes. Yes, you will need to zoom the camera in a little bit.
Okay, so if I hit that one, I can't see it. So you tell me, is that good?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
You could go a little bit closer actually, because we can't really see it.
Okay, great. I'll just sorry guys, it's sort of all very techy. I can't see what's happening. Maybe if I come back.
Yep.
I don't know what
I don't need to get any closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all good? All good. Okay, I did want to just give you guys a little sneak peek into ToolSense, okay? So what we've got here in our whiteboarding, and remember, this won't be for everybody, and it'll be just for those that buy the new 6000S series. But we have this really, really cool, it's new technology. Look, it's in the kind of prototype stage, and we'd love to know your feedback as teachers and educators to see if you would use this or what your ideas. As educators, we can kind of see a really cool use case for it. And it's just to do with all these additional tools, okay, that you get now with the board beyond just the 2 pens, okay? So one of them obviously being, here we go, more colours. Yep. So we're going to include as well our different coloured pens. So we've got our orange and our purple, and we might even be looking as well at ways to perhaps maybe our students having their own pens as well, things like that. So tell us if you think that that is at all sort of interesting for you. Just hold on a sec. Okay, cool. Yes, I did just want to check what was happening. Okay, great. So that's pretty fun. And look, I know they're colours, so that's fun. And I want to show you these blocks and our stamps. And I want to also show you, so I can select all that and delete it. We have a magic pen now as well. So we've got our magic pen, which our teachers know and love, in our notebook software. Now we've got an actual magic pen for our students. So it's been coded obviously to do that. And we have the disappearing ink. So a really fun way to engage students with internalising information, like if you're doing spelling or if you're doing labelling or anything like that. They'll need to sort of internalise it before it disappears and then come and write it up on the board. Other really fun stuff as well that comes with it will be these little blocks, which will have, they coded to do different shapes. So if I turn onto the orange triangle, sorry, not the orange triangle, then we've got the red circle there, we can be doing shapes. And you're thinking, oh, that's pretty cool. But really, if you think about it, we could be doing things like using this and having our students come up and do a pattern for us. And for someone then to repeat that pattern in the sequence. So again, a really nice, fun, tactile kind of way for students to be engaging with content. So we've got the shape blocks. We've also got the number blocks as well, so that they could be coming up perhaps and doing equations. That's the word I was looking for before, equations. And that they can come up and that they could do it as well maybe throw a block out to one of the students, or have the students each, you know, they each get a block, and when they know that they've got the answer, they can come up and plug it in. So we've got it obviously around literacy as well as numeracy, where we've got our little stamps where we could be doing like HA. I think I've only got P. I need a Y. Happy, and they could be doing. We could have a whole series of stamps that we code that makes the alphabet, and again, you know, giving those to the students and them knowing when they can come up and use it. So that's pretty cool. And the other fun stuff as well is we do have the blocks that do have the lettering as well. So we could perhaps roll up a block and have the students come up and do all the work stuff with the or the and things like that. So in conjunction with obviously what we can do on the whiteboard with all these fun blocks, there is a software called Smart ABC, where our blocks are also integrating. So this is for phonics. I hope I've said that right. Allow, and it's this really cute little guy here. I'll try and turn it down for you. So for the younger levels or childcare, definitely, that they're able to sort of come up and we can test out one of the, they get the A and they find the A and they need to pop it in there. Oh, and the kids have to find the one that matches. I don't think I have it on this one. Oh no, where's my Anyway, if I did it wrong, it was like, no, that's not it, and you have to keep going until you find your FFFF, which of course I didn't bring my F block with me, but you get the gist of it. We could go back home maybe and do another one as well with the apples. So the J, and yeah, I'm just, don't tell me I picked another letter I don't have. Well, we have borrowed and lent out a lot of our blocks to our resellers because schools have been going nuts over them, but it works sort of within that software as well, where we're able to put things in there and it's sort of not recognised. Oh, it's a G, and then it tells you, so when you're not getting it, it's giving you that other, it's giving you the sign or the guidance to find the one that you're looking for. All right. Cool. Well, look, that's just a little sneak peek into ToolSense. We know that all the schools that we've been and centres, early years education centres have really been enjoying sort of looking at that and having a play with it. We really do invite feedback. We want to know, you know, from you how you would use it in your classrooms or how you could see it being used, particularly if there's any senior in class, on the call, sorry, that would be able to sort of put it in that context. We are developing other tools as well. So, for example, in the whiteboard, we might code the eraser to be a ruler instead. So there are other things as well that we will be developing in terms of turning objects and coding them to have a particular behaviour when it interacts with the board. So yeah, lots to really sort of keep an eye out in that space. We're obviously the only company that's doing that, and you know, it's really sort of fun to be a part of that cutting edge technology. So yeah, excellent. I think that's taken us sort of right up to, yeah, 2 minutes for questions. Hopefully there's some questions there that I can answer for people, and then if not, Kenny's just got a reminder about the Nessa survey. It honestly will take 2 minutes of your time and you get the hour accreditation, so hang on the line with us. Kenny, any questions?
Yeah, there is one question come through, so I'll just quickly remind people before I read it out that you can answer questions by typing them into the control panel question segment, and I can read them out to Molly, or you can raise your hand and I can take you off mute. So there's 2 ways there, just for those late people that might have come in and missed me. I'll recap of that at the start. So there was one question which I have answered, but I thought it would probably be good, Molly, if you wanted to maybe just maybe show people how to do it. So how do I find the SLSO group on Teams?
Oh, okay, cool. So I'll just go back to my computer. So if I'm on Teams and I want to find the SLSO, it's an app. So if you've added any apps in your team before, what you need to do is there's 3 dots on the left-hand side of your team screen. This is when you're in Teams. You can see mine reads activity, chat, Teams, calendar, calls, files, and I've added Smart Learning Suite. Then there's 3 dots. You could find the app that way and pop in Smart Learning Suite. Yeah. You can find the app that way and then it'll find it, and instead of saying open, it'll say install and you hit install, okay? The other way is right down the bottom of that same menu, there's a little icon that says apps, and again, if you tap into apps and search the app, you'll be able to get it that way as well. Cool, and there it is. Great, and you just add it, and then you hit install, and it adds it for you, and then it'll ask you to sign in. So because I've added it and quite a while ago, it automatically goes to my dashboard. But the first pop-up message you'll get is sign in with Google. I mean, no, I beg your pardon. It'll be sign in, and you hit sign in, and this is for Microsoft users only, and then you pop in your Microsoft email credentials. Cool.
That seems to be the only question today.
All right.
So
well, hopefully everyone's sort of a bit excited with some of the new updates. I think particularly once you start wrapping your head around that smart account and being able to sync your notebook software with your cloud account and then being able to access your cloud account on the panel, that's all where it starts to get really exciting, I think, for teachers. Cool. Thanks, Kenny.
I have had a comment come through from Courtney. This is all amazing. How exciting. Thank you. And another message from Nicole. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate the feedback. And now you can give us a little bit more feedback in those surveys, and we can get you accredited with those that 1 hour of Nessa accreditation, the first cab off the rank. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Kenny?
Okay, I'll quickly wrap this up and let everyone go enjoy their afternoon. So you can get free resources, as Molly mentioned, on content.smarttech.com. That is the Smart Exchange website, and we also call that SMEX. So there's loads of free lesson templates and free teaching resources on there. So you can earn a certificate of attendance for this webinar. Just log into training.smarttech.com and navigate to this webinar, and I will have it up and running on our website by next Wednesday. So just before the next webinar, this will be up ready for you to collect a certificate or watch it again if you wish. So you just scroll to the end of the webinar and then you click on the Mark Complete button, and if you're logged into your training.smarttech.com account, it'll automatically download you a PDF with your name on it. If you're not logged in, that's okay. It will just take you to the prompts to log in. So for those who would like to collect Nessa accreditation hours for this webinar, you can. As soon as I close off this webinar, a survey will pop up. So you will definitely need your Nessa teaching accreditation number. So I can log that with Nessa. So it'll go, your hour will go on the account for this webinar. So please complete that. And for those who would like to give us some feedback, but you know the Nessa accreditation isn't relevant for you, you can definitely still fill out the survey. You just obviously don't need to put in the Nessa accreditation number if you don't want to claim the hour for it. We do take the feedback very seriously, and we use it to each term. We use it for building up the next term's webinar series. We also have IGC, our Inspire Greatness Yearly Conference, is still on track to happen this year. And there's loads of awesome workshops lined up that are going to be run by our Smart Exemplary educators and other smart educators. We've got some local and international keynotes lined up. We also have a panel discussion with educational leaders. Last year, as you can see this photo down here, last year we had 3 principals, 2 from New South Wales schools, 1 from a public school, 1 from a private school, and then 1 from a private school in Queensland. So that was really taken up well at last year's conference. So we're planning on doing that again with some various education leaders. We are aiming for the conference in November. November, at the start of November. That is all still in the pipeline. We're just making all the plans now, and we will have the save the date out very soon with some more information, some more set in stone information, and that'll go out via email and also across our social media accounts. And that brings me to our social media accounts. If you would like to connect with us, that is probably the best way to get all the latest updates on our events, softwares, webinars, how-to videos, ready-made lessons. It's all updated regularly across all 4 of those platforms. So please search for us, and I also post the recordings of these webinars as well across on our Facebook page. So if that interests you, if you want to listen to it with your teaching team, that is probably the best way to go to get them as soon as possible. And last but not least, our upcoming webinars. So the first episode of term 3 is down, and next week we've got curriculum on demand, flipped learning and at-home instruction in upper primary. And then the following Wednesday after that, Wednesday the 12th, we've got delivering high impact teaching and learning in face-to-face and remote learning situations, which is super relevant right now. And then we have a Future Frontiers, Education for the Changing World on Wednesday the 19th, which will be actually hosted by a representative from the New South Wales DOE Catalyst Lab. There is an ebook you can read for that, which you would have seen a pop-up note when you registered for this webinar on the landing page. I encourage you, if you do have time, to read through that webinar, read through that ebook, because it's going to be super relevant for that webinar coming up on Wednesday the 19th. And then we've got the second last, Smart Admin Portal and Teacher Smart Accounts, why you need them. That's more of a tech-based webinar, but super relevant as well. And then last but not least, on going into November, the 2nd of November, we've got creating simple but effective interactive activities suitable for Smart Notebook and Smart Learning Suite online. So lots in store with all those super long titled webinars. So thank you. And I will leave you to enjoy your afternoon for those who are joining us live. And I can see that there have been some questions come through, so I will make sure I answer them. I'll shoot you a quick email. Okay, thanks everyone. See you later.